Hey everyone, welcome back to the Warrick Dunn Charities cooking demos. We are back at Life University with the last of our tomato videos. Be sure to check out our other two videos where we made salsa and focaccia bread. Today though, we're making marinara. Much better than in a jar, and we make it fresh. So Kathy and Remy, take it away.
I love fresh marinara sauce. It is packed with flavor, packed with nutrients, and it's a great source of vitamins. It's also budget friendly, freezer friendly, and most importantly, kid friendly.
To make marinara sauce, you will need 6 medium-sized fresh tomatoes. I prefer beefsteak, which are those kind of thicker tomatoes. Olive oil, we've got onion here. You can do stock of your choice, veggie stock, beef or chicken, fresh garlic, and then an assortment of herbs here. We have parsley, oregano, basil, rosemary, salt and pepper, and then lastly, tomato paste. I like to make marinara in the summer when the tomatoes are fresh and at peak, and then freeze it in Ziploc bags. You can label it and you can pull it out to make whatever recipe you'd like, such as lasagna, shakshuka, you name it. So we'll start, we actually did these ahead of time. So you will take your beefsteak tomatoes and you'll cut them into quarters and roast them at 450 degrees for about 15 minutes with some olive oil and salt. As you can see, they got a good caramelization on here. And then you'll be able to start mashing them, or you can cut them. So Kathy here is going to help cut these up and we'll get started making the rest of the sauce. So we're going to turn our stove on here. You don't want it on high, you want it on more high medium. We're going to start with some olive oil, and the first thing we're going to do is saute our onions, which are already cut up. They are a medium dice, and you can cut them as small or as large as you want. I know some kids don't really like large chunks of onion, so you can cut them as small as you want.
So hide them in there.
Hide them in there. Yeah. So, but they add great flavor once they get started cooking. So we're going to saute these, and once we get these a little bit more cooked, we will add our spices, add our tomatoes. One important thing is, we want to keep some of the skins from the tomatoes, as there's a lot of nutrients that are stored in there.
So what are we looking for with the onions?
So we want them to be somewhat translucent, but also get a little bit of caramelization on there. We have olive oil, so it's not going to stick to the bottom. And I know a lot of people have a habit of constantly stirring stuff. We don't want to stir it too much because we want it to be able to get all that heat. So you can store marinara once it's cooled to 40 degrees or lower. You can store it in the refrigerator in an airtight container for up to a week. You can freeze it. You can also can it or jar it. So that's something that, we buy pasta sauce at the store already in a jar. So if they can do it at the store, you can definitely do it at home, just with proper canning technique.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little brown and a little translucent.
Oh my gosh, it smells delicious.
It's so good. Every time I make marinara, I feel like I channel like my Italian grandmother. It's just like, you can do this. You're gonna stand over the stove for hours.
Season with your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and marinara does take a little bit of time. So, for the purposes of this video, we've kind of sped it up a little bit, but you do want to simmer it for at least 2 hours and try to get the deep flavors kind of melded all together. And then what we'll do is we will add our garlic. We're going to turn it down a little bit, and then you want to kind of cook your spices per se. You're not going to cook them, but get the fragrance out there, especially if they're dry. So it's good for the heat kind of activates the scent, which also activates basically the flavor in your sauce. So it's kind of nice to be able to cook them a little bit with your onions at first. Throw my dry herbs in. So this is our oregano. And I'm going to turn this down just a hair. Parsley.
So what heat are we dropping to?
We're at like a medium, low medium.
Okay, so we went from like medium high to like medium low.
And I'm actually going to throw half of my basil in. And the other half we'll put in after the tomatoes. It smells really good, very fragrant. Kathy has cut up these beautiful roasted tomatoes, so what we're going to do now is add them into our pot. It is not always the cleanest method, so don't wear white when you're doing this with tomatoes. It's going to taste great, and it's definitely worth using fresh tomatoes and getting a little bit messy. So we're gonna carefully put these in the pot with our onions and our spices. Stop here and we can turn it up just a little bit more, back up to like a medium high.
And we went with the chicken broth, right?
Yes.
Chicken stock.
This is a chicken stock, but you can make it vegan by using a veggie stock. It will taste just as wonderful. For the sake of doing this cooking video, and obviously, like I said, we want to cook this over a long period of time, we're going to turn it up a little bit higher and try to cook out some of this moisture. We're also going to add, lastly, our tomato paste, which is 2 tablespoons, and this will help thicken up a little bit and also give more of that bright tomato. It kind of highlights the fresh tomato with using the paste.
Now, if you don't like such a thick marinara sauce, could you run this through a blender
Absolutely.
to make it a very...
Absolutely, yeah. But this is like one of those things too, it's really quick to throw together, and then you can kind of just set it to simmer and set a timer and then go about doing whatever else you need to get done. Right. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a taste. And
That
see if we
flavor's
need to
already so
adjust
good.
It is. Just for the little while that we've been cooking it, the flavor is amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy and Remy, for sharing all these recipes with us today. And thank you for joining us today and watching our 3-part tomato series. Be sure to like and subscribe to the WDC YouTube channel to keep up with all the exciting things happening. And let us know in the comments if there's any additional food or ingredient you'd like to see, like we did our tomato series. What's next? A beet series? But I think at the moment we have a surprise.
We do. We enjoy the focaccia bread so much that we decided to bring it back to enjoy our marinara sauce with.
Yummy!
Yes.
So very exciting.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.
Oh, hot.